Dattapuran, Chapter 4. The sages of Naimisharanya were listening enthusiastically to Suta Maharshi's narration about Lord Dattatreya. They collectively said, Suta Maharshi, we are indeed exceedingly blessed to listen to the charitra of all-pervading and omniscient Lord Dattatreya. Lord has chosen you to describe his charitra to us. Though we are listening to it, we are insatiable. Our hearts are filled with the nectarine love of Lord, and we wish to know in excess about the divine attributes of Lord Dattatreya. Sage Suta was gladdened to explicate about Lord Dattatreya in extent. Kartaviryaarjuna took leave from Lord and reached Mahishmatipuram. Deepaka asked Vedadharma, for how many years did Kartaviryaarjuna rule his kingdom? Did he perform any yagnas? What was the total area of his kingdom? Did he battle with anybody? Whom did he defeat? How did his story conclude, Gurudeva? I have many doubts about Kartaviryaarjuna. Please clarify them. Vedadharma replied, Indeed, I am overjoyed that you want to know in detail about Kartaviryaarjuna. This story was narrated by sage Parashara when Maitreya asked about Kartaviryaarjuna. Now I shall expound the same story to you. Listen to it attentively. Friends, this is the last chapter of the glorious Sri Dattapuran. So, as Suta was explaining about Lord Dattatreya's divine attributes, the sages were listening to them attentively, and they were not satisfied, though they have listened to it for many days, and they want to know more about Lord Dattatreya. And even Deepaka wants to know like how Kartaviryaarjuna's story got ended or how it got concluded. Termination of Kartaviryaarjuna's incarnation. Kartaviryaarjuna was the sole king of entire earth. He performed around 10,000 yagnas. He is incomparable and indomitable. His benevolence and wisdom were immeasurable. There is none who is as benevolent as Karta. Besides, he possessed highest order of wisdom. He ruled the entire earth with Mahishmati as the capital city. After ruling for 85,000 years, his incarnation was terminated in the hands of sage Parashuram. Yet another incarnation of Lord Vishnu. So friends, Kartaviryaarjuna ruled. He was the sole ruler of the entire earth for 85,000 years. We can imagine like how many years he would have lived, right friends? Guruttama, why did Lord Vishnu slay his devotee? He never took life of his devotees in any of his incarnations. What made him to destroy Kartaviryaarjuna? What kind of gaffe committed by Arjuna enraged Lord to assassinate him? Though he was a Brahmagnani, Was he unable to recognize Lord Vishnu? He was blessed by Lord Dattatreya and an ardent devotee of Dattatreya. Then, why did he fail in identifying him? Suppose we consider that he failed in recognizing Lord, then why did Narayana exterminate him, though he is aware of his devotees? Please clear my doubts, Gurudeva. Otherwise, my mind becomes perplexed. As Veda Dharma indicated that Kartavirya was killed by Parashurama, who is yet another avatar of Lord Vishnu. So Deepaka is actually astonished. Why did Parashuram killed Kartavirya? Because Kartavirya was a Brahmagnani himself, and he was also an ardent devotee of Lord Dattatreya, right, who is the form of Vishnu. So why did he kill his devotee, which did not happen ever before? Deepaka, do not get agitated. In this creation, certain tasks are inevitable. Every being has to go through that phase, and none can abort it. If it could have been possible, why would Nala, Rama, and Yudhishthira struggle in their lives? Even in Puranas, it is mentioned that gods like Brahma and Shiva could not forfend themselves from the hands of destiny. Jaya and Vijaya, the Dwarapalakas, that is gods of Vaikunta, could not elude from the curse of Sanaka and Sananda. The philosophers as well as the Brahmagnanis cannot trounce the fate, and if they act in deference to the fate, it does not mean that they are normal human beings. Only body is engaged in performing tasks, and hence the consequences are reaped only by the body. Janardhana is the creator as well as destroyer of this entire creation. Hence, it is his duty to obliterate the duties of body as well. That which has taken birth has to obliterate. This is inevitable. However, only the body meets its end while the Atma remains unperturbed. Even Shiva does not perform any task according to his will. He creates as per the karma of a being. Ergo, the so-called fate or karma is indispensable. Kartavirya was bestowed with numerous boons by Lord Dattatreya when he served him honorously at Sahyadri. One of such boons was that he should be extirpated by Lord Vishnu. So, Veda Dharma is saying that Janardhana is the creator as well as the destroyer. So since he has created us, he has to destroy us. That is why he has killed Kartavirya. And there's another reason also, because Kartavirya served Dattatreya arduously for many years, and he was blessed with many boons. Do you remember, friends? It was in chapter 2. So, since he was blessed with many boons, and one of such boons was that he should be killed by Lord himself. That was merely his wish to be killed by the hands of Lord. So, he was assassinated by Parashuram, an avatar, an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Kartavirya and his retinue gallivanted around whole of the earth, and while returning they visited the ashram of sage Jamadagni, son of Ruchika. Kartavirya and his companions entered into the ashram, paid respects to the sage, and sat on the rock chairs obediently. As it was noon, sage Jamadagni invited the entire army of Karta for lunch. With the blessings of the milch cow named Surabhi, they fed them with various delicious food items and entertained them with music and dance. Kartavirya was completely mystified with the hospitality provided by the sage. Simultaneously, he was envious of the sage as he was lavish in providing the hospitality. Since the sage could accomplish this with the help of Kamadhenu, that is divine bovine goddess, or a cow that can offer everything infinitely, Karta thought, such opulence cannot be found even in the Empyrean. Being a sage, he has entertained us with a high degree of pomp. He made these arrangements merely to insult me, and the reason behind this is Kamadhenu. Ergo, I shall request him to gift me with Kamadhenu, and if he repudiates the proposal, I shall grab it forcibly. Arjuna humbly requested sage to bestow him with a cow, but the sage did not consent to the proposal, though Arjuna was ready to pay lump sum amount for Kamadhenu. Consequently, he was annoyed and encased the cow along with a calf and drove them to his capital city. But Jamadagni did not resist them from grabbing the cow. In lieu, he sat on a rock to perform austerity. So when Kartavirya and his retinue entered into the ashram of Jamadagni, they were actually stupefied by the hospitality given by a sage with the help of Kamadhenu, the milch cow. So, friends, we can observe here that the thoughts that started occurring in Kartavirya's mind, like he wanted to grab that cow. He was actually wealthy and he was abundantly blessed by Lord Dattatreya. Yet he wanted to grab the cow Kamadhenu. I think these are all leading him to end his life. There should be some reason for the termination of his incarnation, right? So he started receiving such thoughts. So though he grabbed the cow and the calf, we can see that sage Jamadagni was very much balanced, that he did not resist them. Instead, he started doing meditation. Parashurama returned from forest and paid respects to his father. His brothers surrounded him and informed about the incident. The atrocious act of Kartavirya outraged Parashurama. Immediately he gathered weapons and began his journey towards Mahishmati to battle with the king of Mahishmati. As soon as Kartavirya approached his palace, Parashurama reached the place and bawled, Arjuna, I am Parashuram, son of sage Jamadagni. Show me your face. As Kartaviryarjuna turned and looked at Parashuram, he recognized that he was none other than Lord Vishnu. However, to fulfill the duties of a king, he commanded his army to battle against Parashuram. The soldiers attacked Parashuram with different kinds of weapons. As the blazing sun destroys the darkness, similarly Parashuram raised them. Though Kartaviryarjuna was crestfallen at the destruction of his army, he was glad that his opponent was superior to him, and hence he felt it was worth to brawl with him. So Kartaviryarjuna was actually an enlightened being, and he was possessed with a huge amount of wisdom, knowledge and whatnot. He was benevolent. He appeared in various forms at once to help his citizens. So he was such a great personality. And when Parashuram came to his palace, he was very much aware that Parashuram was none other than Lord Vishnu, and he also knew that it was his last day on the earth. He shot thousands of arrows on Parashuram with his 1,000 hands, like a tropical sun ejecting the brilliant sun rays. He roared like a lion, due to which the humans lost their senses. Parashuram was so puissant that he could disposition all of the arrows that were targeting him, and he even broke about 100 bows of Arjuna. Karta was irked by mightiest Parashuram and took another 500 arrows and shot them at once. As the rain pacifies the fire, Rama destroyed the arrows in a trice. He smashed the chariot of Kartaviryarjuna by shooting the arrows and axed his 1,000 arms. But with the blessings of Dattapuran, Kartaviryarjuna's hands regrew instantly. Karta demolished around 100 axes and 100 arrows of Rama with his newly developed hands. Rama was antagonized, and with the help of a fire weapon, he scorched the 1,000 arms of Arjuna. Kartaviryarjuna stood like a bird with broken wings, and at that instant his spirit was awakened. Without further ado, he meditated to attain Samadhi state, due to which he lost his senses. Rama axed the head of Arjuna, who was standing like a pillar. As the coconut falls from a tree, in the similar manner, his head plummeted to the ground at a certain distance, and his body collapsed like an axed tree. The deities showered flowers on his corpse. Since he is a yogi, he was liberated long before, and now he is liberated even from his body. The 5 elements of his body absorbed into the 5 elements of nature. Parashurama was pacified with the death of puissant Kartaviryarjuna, and he was jubilant that Surabhi and its cough were under the protection of their ashram. He explicated everything about the battle to his father, and later he moved into the woods to perform austerity. So that is how Kartavirya Arjuna's incarnation was terminated. And friends, at the last moment when he lost all his 1,000 arms, he started meditating. So from this we can know how only enlightened beings can perform such tasks, because he was aware of everything that he was doing. So when he lost his hands, he did not grieve. He did not grieve that he lost his hands, and he did not grieve that his days are going to end on that particular day. Rather, he welcomed death. He welcomed death with utmost love and meditated on Lord. So these are the things that I think we have to learn from such great souls. See, even though he knew that he is going to die the very next moment, he did not grieve at all. That is what is making me, stupefied. Like, how could he be like that? Only a person with lot of wisdom and knowledge is capable of being in such state, friends. So he welcomed death with utmost love and devotion and started doing meditation. As I've told you earlier, that he was an enlightened being. He was actually liberated long back, since he was a king and serving his citizens. Like, even when he served Lord Dattatreya, and when Dattatreya asked him about his wishes, he actually promulgated lot many boons, but they were all for the welfare of his citizens. He did not ask any boon for himself, except that he wants to die by the hands of Lord Vishnu. That was the only boon that he asked for himself. Rest were all for the welfare of his citizens. He was such selfless person. So I think at that moment he would have got liberated. So now when his body, Parshuram killed him, right? So now his body also got liberated. I think Kartavirya Arjuna, my heartfelt gratitude to the great yogi Kartavirya Arjuna, since he has taught us many lessons, friends, right? Actually, we can learn a lot from him, especially the surrenderance, how he was surrendered to Lord Dattatreya. And though he was given a golden opportunity to ask for boons, he did not ask for any for himself. Everything he did for the sake of his citizens. So such selflessness and service-oriented nature. These are the things that we have learnt from the great spirit Kartavirya Arjuna. Vow of Parashuram. Kartavirya Arjuna's sons were eagerly waiting for an appropriate time to retaliate the assassination of their father. As Rama was puissant, they were petrified to combat with him directly. Therefore, one day, when Rama was off to the woods, Karta's sons entered the ashram of Jamadagni and slew him brutally. Though Mother Renuka Mata, wife of Jamadagni, tried to resist them, they violated her words. After some time, Rama returned from the woods and was staggered by seeing his father's corpse. He commiserated with his mother and said, "Mother, I am the sole reason behind the demise of my father. Please forgive me. Both Rama and his mother wept inconsolably. Later, he thought that it was the time to fulfill his duties rather than sobbing. His eyes were filled with wrathfulness, similar to Kalarutra. He gathered his weapons, such as arrows and battle axes, and travelled to Mahishmati. Rama obliterated the sons of Kartaviryaarjuna in an iota of time and returned to his ashram. As soon as he reached the ashram, he pledged that he would exterminate Kshatriya clan for 21 times. So since Parashuram was in the woods to perform austerity, Kartaviryaarjuna's sons killed sage Jamadagni also. So because of the sage Jamadagni, their father was killed. So they killed Jamadagni also. If Parashurama would be in the ashram, they wouldn't enter because Parashuram was mightiest than everyone, right? So they killed sage Jamadagni when Parashurama was not present in the ashram. So immediately Parashurama also assassinated the sons of Kartaviryaarjuna. So here we can see that the entire family of Kartaviryaarjuna was destroyed. Meanwhile, his mother said, "Son, you can pledge sometime later. Now it is time for you to perform funeral rites for your father. They have to be carried out under the supervision of an eminent priest at a specific place where the divine voice emanates from the skies and suggests us to halt while we are traveling." At the behest of Mother Renuka Devi, Rama lifted his parents and began to travel along with other saints of ashram. They travelled a long way, bypassing numerous forests. So it was time for performing the funeral rites of Jamadagni. So they started traveling to the eminent place. Pilgrimage, rivers, ashrams and mountains. Finally, they reached the glorious and captivating Sahyadri mountain in which Lord Dattatraya's ashram was located, that was encircled by coconut and Indian gooseberry trees. They heard a divine voice insisting to perform the funeral rituals according to the instructions given by Dattatreya. Hence, Rama ferreted around the ashram for Lord Dattatreya. Since the ashram was engirdled by shrubs, flora, and plenty of trees, he was unable to locate him. However, as he shambled over to a tree, he espied a Digambara sage with a tumbler in his hand. Rama prostrated to his lotus feet and adjured him to perform the funeral rituals for his father. The Digambara sage reciprocated thus, "I am an incognizant. Hence, I am incapable of performing the funeral rituals for your father. I was on my way to reach my destination. So, you can move towards your destination too." "Swamin, how could I trust that you're unaware of the Shastras? You are the Guru of all the deities and saints. You are the Yogeshwar, and I am sanguine about it. The Digambara sage cachinnated and said, I am a Digambara and consume liquor. Apart from imbibing toddy, I know nothing. I am unworthy of being revered. I am an immoral person. I am the most crooked person in my family. Brahman, trust me, I am unacquainted with Shastras. As he was proclaiming this, he was transformed to Lord Dattatreya and reached the corpse of Jamadagni. Mother Renuka Devi stood alongside the corpse. He paid respects to her and applauded her thus. Mother, you are the supreme of all the goddesses. You are Parvati, and you give your darshan to yogis if they perform yoga ardently. You help the beings to bypass the river of samsara like a boat that helps in crossing the river. You are the only one who possesses such divine attributes. You are beyond dualities. Simultaneously, you are the form of all the beings. I bow to you, Mother. Dattatreya touched the feet of Jamadagni with reverence. He looked at Rama and said, Rama, take bath in all of the auspicious rivers and then perform the rituals. Friends, here we can see that when Parashuram is nothing but he is the incarnation of Lord Vishnu. So, when he reached Dattatreya to ask his permission to perform the rituals, that is the funeral rituals for his father's corpse, Dattatreya did not agree instantly. He even tested Parashuram also. It's like a play. He is actually playing with us, friends. That is what I feel. And usually even within our friends circle and all, we'll be having these pranks, like that he's playing with us. Now this is just my opinion. Rama, take bath in all of the auspicious rivers and then perform the rituals. Rama obliged for the same and fissured a rock in Sahyadri mountain by shooting an arrow. In the twinkling of an eye, holy water from all of the rivers oozed out through the fissure. Rama bathed in the holy water and circumambulated his father's corpse and performed the funeral rites. As the fire blazed from Jamadagni's pyre, Mother Renuka informed Dattatreya that she would undergo Sati Sahagamana, an obsolete funeral custom where a widow immolates herself on her husband's pyre. She instructed Rama to fulfill his vows and to protect the needy. Then she took leave from everyone and walked towards her husband's pyre delightfully to immolate herself. Dattatreya and Parashuram bowed to the divine couple. Later, Parashuram worshipped the Brahmins and Lord Dattatreya. He cleansed the lotus feet of Lord with holy water and beseeched for his acquiescence to return to his ashram. He left the Amalaki, that is Indian gooseberry grove, and rifled through the entire world for the kings who had violated the properties, and each of them were, it's not properties, it's proprieties, and each of them were wiped off the face of the earth. Later, he reached Lord Dattatreya's ashram, cleansed his weapons with the holy water, and worshipped the deities belonging to each weapon. Friends, here Parashuram, after destroying the kings, those who were immoral, he destroyed only those kings, and he returned to the ashram of Dattatreya. There he cleansed the weapons, and then he worshipped each and every deity belonging to that particular weapon. So we can observe that, or we can perceive that each and everything, he has prayed for the deities belonging to each weapon. That means he's considering the weapons as gods, because he has used those weapons to destroy the kings, and those weapons were also considered as gods. Undoubtedly, the kings whom he destroyed were also gods, but then everything has to end at some point or the other, right? Like anything that is created has to be destroyed. So here it was their time to get destroyed, so they got destroyed. However, we have to perceive the expression of Lord Parashuram, he treated those weapons as gods. So which means, in today's world, we are into the technological world, right? So the cell phones, these are the weapons for us now, right? The laptops, the cell phones and all. Every time our life has become difficult without these things, right? So I think we have to start treating the cell phones and then the laptops, the utensils that we use to cook. All these are directly or indirectly, these are the weapons for us. Or I can say not weapons, but they are the things that we have become dependent on, right? So these are all, I think they have to be treated as gods, because Parashuram is treating those weapons as gods. So which means whatever he is using, right? So whatever, in fact, a weapon is a non-living thing. We are under this impression, right? But still he has used that weapon, so he's treating it as a god. I think we have to cultivate this habit of treating everything as gods, because there's nothing in this universe which is not filled with a consciousness, right? Even the cell phones and all, they have lot of metals inside a cell phone, right? And plastic and all, everything is there. And if we can observe, when every atom of this universe is filled with a consciousness, why can't we treat a cell phone as God? Why can't we treat a laptop as God? So everything is divine, friends. I think we have to think deeply about this matter. He paid obeisance to Dattatreya. Meanwhile, his parents gave darshan to him and notified, "Son, we are propitiated by your efforts of demolishing the kings. Now you can pacify your vengeance and perform yagnas as an atonement to the sin of exterminating the kings. Since you are a celibate Brahmin, you can place a golden effigy of a lady beside you as the form of your wife while performing the yagna." So though Parashuram is the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, his parents are suggesting him to perform the yagna because he has destroyed the kings. He may be endured, or he may have to endure the consequences of killing the kings, right? So they are suggesting him to perform the karma because he is on this earth planet. he is bound to the laws of this planet. Like whatever we do, we will receive it, right? Whatever we are giving, we are receiving. It's the same thing holds good even for Parashuram, though he is the incarnation of Lord Vishnu. So his parents are suggesting him to perform the yagna. Parashurama bowed to his parents and immediately they disappeared. Dattatraya's ashram was engirdled by fascinating creepers, fragrant flowers, shrubs, various trees with vari-colored birds residing on them. The chirping of birds and the colorful butterflies added glory to the ashram. Above all, Lord Dattatraya's presence made the place quintessential to perform austerity as well as yagnas. A hermitage was situated in the ashram where Lord Dattatreya was dwelling. Rama entered into that hermitage and prostrated to the lotus feet of Lord and extolled him silently. Dattatreya was euphoric with his approach. He called Rama compassionately and asked him to sit on his lap. He said pleasantly, "Bhargava Rama, your credibility is indeed appreciable, and you have achieved it through your virtuous deeds. Effacing the puissant Kartaviryaarjuna is a grueling task. You slew plenty of demons and unethical kings. Since you have accomplished many toilsome courses, I believe that you are not an ordinary Brahmin, but the form of Sri Mahavishnu." Friends, Kartaviryaarjuna, though he was blessed with so many boons, though he was an ardent devotee of Lord Dattatreya, though he surrendered himself to Lord Dattatreya, he got obliterated because of his ego. I think, I don't possess, I am not in such a position to criticize him or to say unworthy words about him. But then I'm telling about the story, like whatever the story we have heard about Kartaviryaarjuna. Accordingly, I'm giving you the information. In fact, I'm just a speck in the mightiest ocean of spirituality, right, friends? So I'm just giving you the information according to the story that we have been listening to till now. So in the story, like Kartaviryaarjuna, at the end when he drove the the cow, that is Surabhi, and its calf to his palace, because he did it out of ego, right? So he had to get annihilated by Parashuram. However, he had to do this because it was the time for him to vacate his body. He was already an enlightened being, and there has to be some reason for him to vacate his body, right? So the situations that have occurred have made him to do or have made him to act in such a way. And he was also blessed with a boon that he would be annihilated by Lord Vishnu, or the one who is superior than him. So if he has to be annihilated by Lord Vishnu, then he has to perform such act, right? So he has performed such an act. He had to behave egoistically because he had to be killed by Lord Vishnu. So that way he got liberated from the body too. Swamin, Devadeva, Arinda, I am neither Vishnu nor a combatant. I am your disciple and a celibate. This is the reality. I want to achieve something for the contentment of the sages and forefathers. Please accept me as your Sishya and guide me in this regard. Rama paid obeisance to Lord and circumambulated for thrice. Lord Dattatreya assented to the adjuration of Rama. The Sov and differential Sahyachalam was chosen as the Yagna Bhumi, that is the place to perform yagnas. Yagna Mantap or a canopy was decorated with strings of mango tree, fragrant flowers, pennants, and dazzling creepers. 5 pits were arranged according to Shastras. Sage Kashyapa was the chief saint who reached Sahyadri on an auspicious day, and Rama vowed that he would perform yagnas at a propitious time. The sages who were possessing the knowledge of nature of Brahma performed yagnas devotedly. They were gifted with glittering ornaments and attires. For every Brahman who attended the yagna was offered with gold coins and served with various delicious and luscious food items. People of every caste were gifted with everything that they wished for. This way, Rama's yagna was completed exuberantly. The deities, humans, yakshas, kinnaras, nagas, rakshasas, and the charanas, that is, itinerant actors, siddhas and sadhakas, the forefathers were contented with the hospitality and with the alms donated by Rama. Indra was gifted with a selenium offering. The celestial beings of earth were pleased with the offering of plenty of gold coins, and the poor were immensely happy with the succulent food, plenty of garments, and wealth. Since sage Kashyapa was the primary priest and the yagnas were performed under his guidance, Bhargavarama donated the entire world to him. Bhargavarama destroyed the Kshatriya clan for 21 times with his prowess as a warrior and became the king of the entire world, which he donated to sage Kashyapa. Friends, though Lord Parashurama became the king of entire earth, as he destroyed the Kshatriya clan for 21 times, he acquired all the property, right? All the kingdoms were under his hands. So he had lot of property. Though he was the king of the entire earth, he did not enjoy this position. He actually gifted the whole world to the sage, that is sage Kashyapa, since he performed the yagna. So we can see how selfless he is. He did not own the property, rather he gifted it to sage Kashyapa. Rama offered Lord Dattatreya with precious gems, divine garments, and worshipped him with flowers and sandalwood powder. Dattatreya apportioned them to the sages and Brahmins with reverence. Kashyapa requested Rama for approbation to dole out the entire land to the Brahmins. Rama was jocund with the meritorious act of Kashyapa. So here even Kashyapa, though he was gifted with the entire world, he again distributed it among the Brahmins. Even he did not own the property. Even sage Kashyapa also distributed it. He said, "You have performed an exceptional task. In fact, only a gnani like you could accomplish such tasks. The Digambara sage who is participating in the yagnas along with us is none other than Lord Dattatreya, the form of Sriman Narayana. It is due to his blessings and Mother Renuka Devi's blessings that such a laborious yagna is completed successfully without any obstacles. Later, Rama bowed with gratitude to the Adi Guru Dattatreya, sage Kashyapa, other sages and Brahmins. He took leave from everyone and travelled to Mahendra mountain to perform austerity at the tip of mountain. Deepaka, who was listening attentively to Veda Dharma, expressed his doubts. Gurudeva, who is Mother Renuka Devi? I would wish to know about her incarnation. As Lord Dattatreya himself extolled her, it is obvious that she is indeed a pious soul. Please explicate about her birth. Why did Amalaki Grove become the place of yaga? These are my doubts. Please clear them. Vedadharma acknowledged thus. Deepaka, Kumaraswamy expounded the same information when similar questions were put forth by sages to Kumaraswamy on the hilltop of Sri Sailam. I shall expatiate everything about it. Friends, Deepaka, since he served his Guru Vedadharma arduously for 21 years with utmost patience and reverence, love and devotion towards his Guru Vedadharma is giving information about everything. So whatever Deepaka is asking, he is answering to all his questions. And because Deepaka has put forth all these questions, like he's asking about Lord Dattatreya, about Kartavirya Arjuna, and then now he's asking about Renuka Devi. So he has put forth such wonderful questions, and I think because of him we are able to know about these great and then the pious souls, right? We are actually blessed to have Deepaka. Because of him we are able to listen to the divine attributes of Lord Dattatreya, and we are learning so many things from Dattapuran. In fact, Dattapuran came into existence because of Deepaka. Because Deepaka is asking so many questions about Lord Dattatreya, so Dattapuran has come into existence. Like it is a collection of all the answers, right? Whatever Deepaka had questioned Vedadharma, he has answered everything. So Dattapuran is a collection of all the answers of sage Vedadharma. So I think we have to be grateful to Deepaka because he has asked so many things. Today we are able to listen to the glories of Dattapuran, right? So I am really grateful to Deepaka. I think we all have to be grateful to Deepaka. Thank you. And once again, thank you, friends. You have been very patient in listening to me. Thank you so much. Story of Mother Renuka. During the beginning of Krita Yuga, Brahma, the creator, created humans, demons, deities, plant kingdom, animal kingdom, insects, birds, and dharma enjoined with each caste according to Vedic literature. Sorry friends, I forgot to mention sage Vedadharma also. We have to be grateful to sage Vedadharma also, since he is answering to each and every question of Deepika so patiently. So, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Sage, Veda Dharma, and Deepika. Every being was happy, fulfilling their duties without violating them, even by hair's breadth. They were devoid of anger, jealousy, and lust. Brahma observed the situation of the entire creation and thought that it cannot expand if the same circumstances persist. He created nescience with the help of 5 characteristics such as concupiscence, deep lust, element of dullness, darkness, and thick darkness. The benightedness created by him counteracted upon him. As a result, he failed to remember the Vedas. Though he attempted hard to recall them, his efforts were in vain. He was flustered and perturbed. Hence, Brahma travelled to Sahyadri and meditated on Mother Renuka Devi in a quiet place in Amalaki copse, that is gooseberry. Mother Renuka Devi was enough compassionate that she gave darshan to him in an iota of time. Brahma paid obeisance to her. His encomiums made Mother Renuka Devi ecstatic. Brahma apprised her of his poignant state. So friends, Brahma, initially when he created the universe, every one of them were in the righteous path. Each and every one of them were in the righteous path, and they did not violate their duties or the dharma. They did not violate dharma even by hair's breadth. So if the same situation continues, then there wouldn't be any progress, right? That is what Brahma thought, and hence he created the nescience, and then lust, and then darkness. These are dullness, that is tamgun, that are related to tamagun. Tamogun. So he created all these things, thinking that if the universe, if everybody is in the right path, nobody is deviating from the right path, then there wouldn't be any progress in the universe. It would be still, right? It won't move forward. So he has created all these things like dullness, nescience, darkness, and all. So in the process, he forgot everything. He forgot Vedas and all, because he created the nescience, dullness, and darkness. No? So they have counteracted upon him, and so he forgot everything. So he went to Sahyadri and then meditated on Renuka Devi. Gnani Trilokavandita Gayatri Vedamata, please protect me from my pitiable situation. I am unable to recall the Vedas. You are Parameshwari, Jagat Guru, and Sarva Devata Mayi. Please illuminate my intellect with your form of wisdom. Chaturanana, that is the four-headed. Seek refuge in Lord Dattatreya. He is an expertise in Vedas and Shastras. So saying, she called Dattatreya and said, Jnanavetru Purakshkrita, that is honored for his higher order of wisdom. Sarvadeva Namaskrita, revered by entered deities. Brahma wants to say something. Inquire him about it. Lord Dattatreya asked Brahma, Chaturmukha, Sarvajnanaveta, pray tell me about your concern. I shall certainly attend to it. Brahma replied, Munishreshta, I am unable to remember the Vedas, the verses of Vedas and Upanishads as well. Kindly preach me Vedas along with phonemics and syllables. Virinchi, the sound of all the phonemics, is none other than Mother Renuka Devi. Hence, she is called as Savarna. She is Savarna, Vedamata, Savitri, Brahmarupini, Jagadhatri, and she is the sound of Omkara. There are 8 synonyms that describe her. Hence, she is called as Ashtaparyaka Vachaka. They are Hladini, Vimala, Utkarshini, Gnanayoga, Itya, Ishana, Prahvi, and Anugraha. Though she is one, she exhibits herself in multitudinal forms. Hence, she is called as Ekavira. Munishreshta, you have enlightened me that Sadhu, Vedamata, Gayatri, and Brahmarupini are one and the same. As the Tatreya and Brahma were involved in conversation, the 4 Vedas from the countenance of Sri Devi, who was sitting on the lap of Lord Dattatreya and subsumed into Mother Renuka Devi's body. Here Sri Devi is Anagha Devi. Chaturmukha was contented with this and hence realized that Mother Renuka Devi is the Vedamata. He was raptured and eulogized her as Mother. You are Chandasvarupini, form of prosody, Omkarasvarupini, form of Omkara, Antarupini, form of an eternity. I think this is Anantarupini. Knowingly or unknowingly, if a person calumniates you, all of the merits shall be withdrawn. He prostrated to Lord Dattatreya once again, and lo, he regained his Vedic knowledge. Later, he returned to his abode, Satyalok, euphorically. Mother Renuka Devi was born to King Renu since he performed austerity. She married Seth Jamadagni, who is the form of Lord Shiva. Now, I shall answer your another question. So, when Brahma forgot the Vedas, so Lord Dattatreya helped him to regain the Vedic knowledge with the help of Mother Renuka Devi, who is the wife of Jamadagni and mother of Lord Parashurama. So friends, from this we can know that the darkness or whatever the negatives we have in the universe are created by Brahma himself. Because of the progress of the universe, he has created all these things. But it doesn't mean that we have to get enthralled or we have to attract those negativity, or we have to attract those negative thoughts, or we need not attract the negativity. We should only understand that it is also a part of creation, and we should never hate anything in this universe. Even if it is negative, we should not hate, because that negative is created to make us to understand about the positive things. Because the negative things are there, we are able to know about the positive things. So the negative is being created for the progress of the universe, and also to make us understand clearly about the positivity. That's all, friends. So let us not hate negativity, and let us not hate anybody who is involved into negativity, and let us not hate anybody who is immoral, because everything has to be balanced in this universe, right? If good is there, bad should be there. If positive is there, negative should be there. So everything is balanced. Everything has to be balanced. So if you're good, the other person will be bad. This way, even if we observe in our life, like husband and wife, usually they are opposite, right? In each and every way, most of the people will have opposite opinions, opposite tastes, everything is opposite, but they are together. Actually, the family is balanced because of these two opposites, right? So like we have to understand that negativity is also important, and it is also a part of universe, and we should never hate anything in the universe. I think this is the prime funda. Story of Krishna Malaki. Once, in accordance with the instructions given by Mother Renuka Devi, Chaturmukha or Brahma visited Kshira Samudra, sea of milk, to have the darshan of Lord Vishnu, but he could not discern Lord. Though he ferreted around, his efforts were in vain, and hence he was flustered. However, after a while, a gooseberry tree appeared that was emitting luminosity through all the directions. It was the dazzling and spectacular Krishnamalaki tree. Brahma returned to Sahyadri along with Krishnamalaki tree. Mother Renuka Devi could analyze that Lord Vishnu appeared in that form and said to Rama, "You enter into Krishnamalaki tree and extol your father." Krishnamalaki is the form of Lord Vishnu, and your father is the form of Lord Shiva. Hence, it would grow into a wondrous divine tree. Plant this tree along with Dattatreya at the propitious Dattatreya's ashram, as well as at the forest, and rest under that tree for some time. Krishnamalaki bestows eternity to those who touch its bark with devotion or by just having its darshan. Rama entered into the Krishnamalaki tree and impregnated it with the powers of Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Later, Brahma returned to his abode while Mother Renuka Devi disappeared. Lord Dattatreya sat under Krishnamalaki to meditate. Even Rama rested under Krishnamalaki until the yajna was completed. Story of Pingalanaga. A sage by name Pingalanaga visited Sahyadri when Lord Dattatreya was performing austerity under Krishnamalaki tree on the river banks of Pranita. He said, "Deva, there are 4 age-based life stages called ashramas. The 4 ashramas are Brahmacharya, student; Grihastha, householder; Vanaprastha, retired; and Sannyasa, renunciate. A set of certain principles are allotted for each ashrama, but you do not seem to follow any of the ashramas. You both are Digambaras, and you appear to everyone consuming toddy and non-vegetarian food. Goddess Anagha Devi is ever seated on your lap. Lord, what kind of ashrama is this? If I have agonized you by asking such a queer question, please pardon me, but I am curious to know about it." Munishrestha, you have questioned brilliantly. In fact, there are only 4 ashramas. Mine is beyond 4 ashramas, and it is the 5th one. The one who has realized that the Atma resides in every atom of this universe and has quelled his senses is eligible for the 5th ashrama. Mahanubhava, you are Vishweshwara, you are Purushottama, you are Kamalapati, born to sage Atri and Mother Anasuya. Please pardon me for my knee signs. I aspire to reside in your abdomen. Please fulfill my wish. Sri Rama, Narayana, Vasudeva, Govinda, Vaikuntha, Mukunda, Krishna, Keshava, Ananta, Nrsimha, Vishnu, pray protect me from this sansara. Lord Dattatreya was pleased and appeared in the form of Shiva and absorbed him into his abdomen. Story of Gooseberry Tree. By circumambulating Krishnamalaki tree, after taking bath in Parinita river, and by offering donations, one shall procure the merit of circumambulating the Trimurtis. During the initial stages of Kruta Yuga, while churning the milk of ocean by Devas and demons, the Piyusha Malaka tree was produced, bearing flowers and fruits. The deities gifted Lord Vishnu with Piyusha Malaka, while the sea god offered him Kaustubha, a precious gemstone, and goddess Lakshmi. Lord Vishnu planted Piyusha Malaka in his Kshira Mandir. Goddess Lakshmi was exhilarated with the arrival of Piyusha Malaka. When Lord Vishnu was born as Dattatreya to sage Atri and Mother Anasuya, he carried half portion of the tree to Sahyadri and planted it in the ashram. It is renowned as Krishna Malaki. Lord Dattatreya performed austerity under the shade of Krishna Malaki. The same tree is known by different names. It is called as Piyusha Malaka in Kshira Mandir, as Krishna Malaki in Sahyadri, and with some other name in Patala Lok. Krishna Malaki is also called as Siddha Malaki. Hence the place is known as Siddha Malaka village, and later its name was changed to Madhapur. So friends, Dattatreya is saying that he is beyond the 4 ashramas like Brahmacharya, Gruhastu, Vanaprastha and then Sannyasa. But he is beyond all these 4. That is what he has explained to us, right? So the one who is enlightened, is the one who has known that every atom of the universe is occupied by Atma. That is there is only a single consciousness. That is the Moola Chaitanya that is occupied in every atom of this universe is one and the same. That is the Moola Chaitanya in me, in you, in all the animals, in all the birds, in all the non-living beings, in all the living beings, everywhere the Moola Chaitanya is occupied, or we can say the soul, Atma. Atma has got the consciousness, right? So Atma is all pervading. It is residing even in the non-living beings, friends. So the one who has realized that this entire universe is solely filled with Atma, and such a person is called as the enlightened being, or the one who has become the Parabrahma. Story of Changrika. During Kruta Yuga, in a place called Purandara, a pious Brahmin couple, Changrika and his wife Bhama, were residing. Changrika aspired to attain the position of Indra. Hence, both the couples scoured through entire earth to locate an appropriate place to perform austerity. As they were unsuccessful in locating the one, they sat on rocks with despondency. Then his forefathers appeared in subtle form and suggested him to visit Matrutirth and perform the death ceremony rituals to forefathers under the presence of Mother Renuka Devi. By performing the death ceremony rituals, both the performer as well as the forefathers shall be liberated. Therefore, Changrika and his wife travelled to Sahyadri, took bath in the river, and offered Tarpana, that is, offering made to divine entities, to the forefathers at Matrutirth, performed the rituals related to the death ceremony of forefathers under the shade of Krishnamalaki tree. Instantly his forefathers got liberated and reached the heavens. Glory of Padmatirth. Deepaka, now I shall elucidate the glory of Padmatirth, which is a ford in Pranita river named Padma. During ancient times, the divine couple Surya and Usha were blessed with a baby girl named Bhanumati. She was beguiling and effervescent in her adolescence. Unfortunately, her father was tantalized by her pulchritude. He insisted her to engage in fornication with him. In order to deviate her father, she absconded and began to live in the woods in the form of an animal. Surya searched for her in all of the worlds and was successful in locating her in a dense forest. While he tried to ravish her, Indra, sages like Kashyap, and other gods and goddesses dissuaded him. However, as Surya was tantalized by his own daughter, he became a leper. His body shrank due to the terrible disease. Bhanumati was crestfallen with the wretched condition of her father. She took blessings from her father and approached Brahma to suggest a remedy to her father. Surya is responsible for maintaining good health of all the beings. Since he suffered from leprosy, all of the beings were defenseless. Friends, Bhanumati is so compassionate that though her father Surya tried to ravish her, she actually forgave her father, and she's asking remedies from Brahmadev to protect her father from the deadly disease leprosy. And even all the beings, since Surya is considered to be the one who provides good health to all the beings. Yes, the sun rays has lot of vitamins, and then it can kill bacteria and then viruses and all, right? So that is how sun god is providing good health to us. So since he is the provider of good health to all the beings of earth, and all the beings have become defenseless since Surya himself is suffering from leprosy. So Bhanumati forgave sun god and approached Brahma to ask for the remedy. So how compassionate she is. Brahma said, Bhanumati, You are aware of the reason behind your father's miserable condition. He intended to ravish you, being his own daughter, and it is an unforgivable sin. Nevertheless, the Padma Tirth has the ability to expunge your father's sin. Inform your father to take dips in Padma Tirth and worship Mother Renuka Devi. Consequently, he shall become pristine. Bhanumati apprised her father about Padma Tirth and its poisons. Surya reached Lord Dattatreya's ashram immediately. Every day he bathed in Padma Tirth meticulously and meditated on Lord Dattatreya. He even worshipped Mother Renuka Devi devotedly. Mother Renuka was elated by his devotion